My girlfriend texted me. I'm not your property. Stop calling me. I said, understood. I'm not your boyfriend anymore. Don't come home. Locks changed. Silence. Hours later, tearful calls. For context, I'm Alex, 31M. My girlfriend, Jenna, is 29F. We've been together just under 3 years, living together for the last year in an apartment that's in my name. This all went down yesterday, and I'm still getting flooded with calls as I type this. Yesterday afternoon, Jenna didn't come home from work like usual. No heads up, no running late. Around 7 p.m., I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted, everything okay? No response. I waited another hour, tried again. Nothing. At 9:12 p.m., my phone buzzed. Her text said, I'm not your property. Stop calling me. No explanation. No argument leading up to it. Just that. Something in me snapped, but not in the way it usually does. I didn't argue. I didn't ask where she was. I didn't apologize for something I didn't understand. I stared at the message for a solid minute and realized how familiar that tone was. The same one she used whenever she wanted to shut something down and make me the problem. So I replied, understood. I'm not your boyfriend anymore. Don't come home. Then I did something I'd never done before. I changed the locks. Before anyone jumps me for that, let me be clear. The lease is in my name. I pay the rent, utilities, everything. Jenna contributes when she can, which somehow never aligns with rent being due. After I changed the locks, I put my phone face down and went quiet. No dramatic messages. No follow-up. Just silence. For 3 hours. Then the call started. Missed call. Missed call. Voicemail. Another voicemail. By midnight, my phone looked like a crime scene. I haven't listened to any of them yet. And that's where I'm stuck. The first voicemail came in at 12:07 a.m. I didn't listen to it. I could already picture the arc. Anger, disbelief, panic, then tears. Jenna never skipped steps. By 12:30, I had 11 missed calls and 4 voicemails. The text started shifting tone too. Alex, this isn't funny. You're being dramatic. Open the door right now. I stayed quiet. This wasn't me playing games. This was me finally taking her at face value. She said she wasn't my property. Fine. Property implies access. Privilege. A shared space. You don't get those without respect. Around 1 a.m., I heard pounding. Not frantic yet. Controlled. Like she still thought this was a misunderstanding she could bully her way through. Alex, she yelled through the door. Open it. I don't want to do this in the hallway. I didn't move. She tried the knob. Once. Twice. Harder the third time. Silence followed. Then the unmistakable sound of her heels being kicked off. You're being insane, she snapped through the door. We had a fight. Adults don't do this. We didn't have a fight. She sent a message. I accepted it. That's when the insult started. You're insecure. You're controlling. This is exactly why I needed space from you. I leaned against the kitchen counter, calm in a way that surprised me. Every word she said only confirmed something I'd been avoiding for months. At 1:18 a.m., the tone cracked. Alex, she said, softer now. I don't have my charger. My stuff is in there. Still nothing from me. She tried calling again. I watched the phone light up on the counter, vibrate itself quiet. At 1:34, she slid down the door. I could hear it. Her voice changed completely. I didn't mean it like that, she said. You know I didn't. I closed my eyes. That sentence had followed every boundary she ever crossed. And for the first time, I didn't respond to it. I slept on the couch, not because I was sad, but because the bedroom felt like neutral ground I hadn't earned yet. When I woke up, my phone was at 37 missed calls. I finally listened to the voicemails while making coffee. The first 2 were rage. The next 3 were disbelief. By the 6th, her voice had dropped an octave and slowed down, like she was suddenly choosing her words carefully. Alex, please. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. You can't just lock me out. That one almost worked. Almost. At 8:46 a.m., there was a knock. Not pounding this time. Polite. Controlled. The Jenna that shows up when she needs something. I opened the door a crack, chain still on. She looked wrecked. Makeup smeared. Hair pulled into a rushed ponytail. Hoodie I recognized. Mine, technically. She immediately straightened when she saw me, anger flaring back to life. So you're really doing this, she said. You think you can just erase me overnight? I didn't erase you, I said. You drew the line. She scoffed. That text was about boundaries. You're twisting it. No, I replied. It was about disrespect. Her eyes flicked past me into the apartment. I live here. You lived here, I corrected. With me. She crossed her arms. This is abuse, you know. Locking me out like this. That word again. Abuse. She loved weaponizing it whenever accountability got uncomfortable. I didn't touch you, I said calmly. I didn't threaten you. I didn't chase you. You told me to stop calling. I stopped everything. That's not what I meant, she snapped. I know, I said. You meant you wanted power without consequences. Her face went red. You don't get to decide that. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized something terrifyingly simple. I already had. She shifted tactics instantly. Tears welled up on command. I just needed space last night, she said softly. I didn't think you'd do something so extreme. I nodded. That's the problem. You never think I will. She stared at me, searching for the version of me that would cave. She didn't find him. And that's when she realized this wasn't a scare tactic. This was real. She didn't leave right away. Jenna stood there in the hallway like the door itself was a negotiation. One hand on her hip, the other clutching her phone, eyes darting between my face and the chain like she was calculating angles. So what now, she asked. You just throw me out like trash? I'm not throwing you out, I said. I'm enforcing what you said. She laughed bitterly. You're unbelievable. I needed one night without you blowing up my phone, and suddenly I'm homeless. One night. I raised an eyebrow. You didn't say I need space. You said I'm not your property, and to stop calling you. She rolled her eyes hard. God, you're so literal. You know what I meant. That's the problem, I said. It's always what you meant, never what you actually said. She leaned closer to the door, lowering her voice like that would soften the words. Open it. We'll talk inside. You're embarrassing yourself out here. There it was again. Image. Control. Manage the scene. I'm not opening the door, I said. You can grab essentials later when we arrange it. Her face shifted instantly. The calm cracked. So this is punishment, she snapped. Because I didn't check in like a good girlfriend? No, I said. This is me listening. She stared at me, stunned. You don't get to just end things by text. You ended them by text, I replied. I just confirmed it. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced at the screen, then back at me. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know, I said honestly. But that stopped being my responsibility when you decided I wasn't allowed to care. That landed harder than I expected. Her mouth opened, then closed. For a second, there was real fear there. Not sadness about us, fear about logistics. She swallowed. You're really serious. I nodded. For the first time, yeah? She stepped back slowly, like she didn't trust the ground anymore. You're going to regret this, she said, quieter now. Maybe, but I already knew something she didn't. The regret I felt staying had finally outweighed the fear of leaving. And that balance never tips back. She left the building just after that, but she didn't go far. I watched from the peephole as she paced the parking lot, phone pressed to her ear, voice animated. I didn't need to hear the words to know the script. I was unstable. I was controlling. I'd locked her out over nothing. By the way she gestured toward the building, I was already the villain in a story being rehearsed in real time. Around noon, the texts resumed. My mom says what you're doing is illegal. Lauren says you can't just kick me out. You're proving exactly why I needed space. I didn't respond. An hour later, a new tone. Alex, please. I'm exhausted. I haven't slept. I just want to grab some clothes and my laptop. That one was reasonable, carefully crafted. No accusations. No blame. Just logistics. I replied with one sentence. We can arrange a time later with someone present. Her typing bubble appeared instantly, then vanished, then reappeared. So you don't trust me now? I stared at the screen, feeling strangely detached. This wasn't about trust. Trust assumes mutual good faith. What we had was pattern. I trust patterns, I typed back. Not promises. That was the last message I sent. By mid-afternoon, she tried a different tactic. She showed up again, this time with Lauren in tow. Lauren stood a few steps back, arms crossed, clearly drafted as backup. Jenna knocked, soft and polite, like she was auditioning for reasonableness. Alex, she said through the door. We can talk like adults. I stayed silent. Lauren cleared her throat. This is getting out of hand. You're making this worse than it needs to be. I finally spoke, loud enough to be heard. I'm not escalating anything. I'm ending it. Jenna's voice cracked. After everything I've put up with from you? That sentence sealed it. I realized then she wasn't upset about losing me. She was upset about losing access to the apartment, the stability, the version of me that always backed down. And once I saw that, there was no urgency left. That night was the quietest the apartment had ever been. No footsteps. No sighs. No passive-aggressive cabinet slams. Just the hum of the fridge and my phone lighting up every 10 minutes like it was trying to guilt me into something. I didn't answer a single call. At 9:42 p.m., she left a voicemail that finally made me sit down. "Alex," she said, voice trembling. "I don't understand how you can do this so coldly. I loved you. I still love you. You don't just get to shut me out like I meant nothing." That was the most honest thing she'd said all day. Not about love, but about access. Because love, to her, had always come with conditions. Availability, compliance, me staying reachable no matter how poorly I was treated. I sat there thinking about all the times I'd been told I was too much for caring, too needy for checking in, too insecure for wanting basic communication. And now suddenly I was heartless for stopping. Around 11 p.m., another knock. This one wasn't polite. It was desperate. "Alex, please," she cried through the door. "I'll say whatever you want. Just let me in." That sentence chilled me. Say whatever you want. Not talk it through. Not fix it. Just regain entry. "I'm not opening the door," I said calmly. There was a long pause. Then anger exploded. "You're doing this to punish me," she screamed. "You think you're some kind of hero right now?" "No," I replied. "I think I finally listened." She sobbed loudly then, slumping against the door. For a moment, my chest tightened. This was the part where I usually folded, where I convinced myself her pain mattered more than mine. But something had shifted. I realized if I opened that door, I wasn't choosing compassion, I was choosing the cycle. "I hope you're safe tonight," I said. "But we're done." The crying stopped instantly. Then came silence. That's when I knew she'd finally understood. Not that I was mad, that I was unreachable. The next morning, the silence was broken by a notification I didn't expect. An email. Subject line, "Can we please talk like adults?" I almost laughed. Jenna hated email. Too permanent. Too traceable. But that's exactly why she used it now. Texts hadn't worked. Calls hadn't worked. Tears hadn't worked. This was her trying to reframe everything as reasonable. The email was long, carefully written. She said she felt unsafe, that she was blindsided, that she'd been emotionally abandoned. She mentioned the word trauma twice. She also casually noted she might have to involve someone if I continued being uncooperative. That part finally made me angry. Not loud anger. Focused anger. I replied with 3 sentences. "You told me to stop calling you." "I did." "You said you weren't my property." "I agreed." "We can coordinate pickup of your belongings with a third party." Nothing else. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Then another call. Then another. Then a text from her sister, who I hadn't spoken to in months. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I blocked the number. By early afternoon, Jenna showed up again. This time alone. No friend. No backup. Just her, standing in the hallway with red eyes and shaking hands. "I just need my laptop," she said through the door. "Please. I have work." I hesitated. Not because I doubted myself, but because this was the first request that wasn't about us. It was practical. Human. "Leave," I said. "I'll bring it down." I put the chain back on, grabbed the laptop, and opened the door just enough to slide it out. Our fingers didn't touch. She looked up at me like she was seeing me for the first time. "You're really not coming back from this, are you?" I shook my head. "Neither are you." She opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. Her shoulders slumped. That was the moment the fight ended. Not with yelling. With acceptance she didn't ask for. The apartment didn't feel like mine yet. It felt borrowed, like everything was still waiting for her to come back and tell me what I was doing wrong. I spent that evening boxing up her things. Not dramatically. Methodically. Clothes folded. Shoes paired. Toiletries sealed. I realized how much space she'd taken up, physically and mentally. Entire drawers I never used because they were hers. Shelves I wasn't allowed to touch because she had an aesthetic. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzed again. A new number. "Alex, it's Jenna. Please don't hang up." I didn't reply. Another message followed almost immediately. "I'm not angry anymore. I just need to understand how it got this far." That one annoyed me. Not because she wanted understanding, but because she was pretending this was sudden. At 9:15, she tried FaceTime. Declined. Then came the longest message yet. Paragraphs. Apologies mixed with blame. I was overwhelmed. "You took it too literally. I never thought you'd actually leave." That last sentence sat heavy. She never thought I'd leave. I realized then how safe she'd felt treating me like an option. How confident she was that no matter what she said, no matter how dismissive or cruel, I'd still be there, calling, apologizing, keeping the lights on. I typed a response. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted that too. Finally, I sent one line. I meant what I said. Please stop contacting me. The typing bubble appeared, stayed, disappeared, then nothing. For the first time since this started, there were no calls, no knocks, no texts, just quiet. And in that quiet, I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. The quiet didn't last forever. It never does. 2 days later, I got a knock from the building manager. Not angry. Awkward. The kind of knock that comes with a rehearsed sentence. He said Jenna had contacted him, claiming she'd been suddenly locked out and needed access to retrieve essential personal items. He asked if there was some kind of misunderstanding. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't overshare. I just told him the truth. We'd broken up, the lease was in my name, and I was coordinating pickup through a third party. I showed him the text she sent telling me to stop calling her. He nodded slowly and said he'd note it. That afternoon, Jenna tried one last angle. A handwritten note slid under the door. It said she never thought I'd actually abandon her. That she was hurt, confused. That she just wanted reassurance, not consequences. She ended it with, "I still believe we can fix this if you stop being stubborn." That line made me sit down, because it finally clicked what she was asking for. Not repair, not accountability. Reversal. She wanted the old version of me back, the one who'd hear "stop calling me" and panic. The one who'd apologize for caring. The one who'd unlock the door no matter how she treated him. I folded the note and put it in a drawer. Later that night, I boxed the rest of her things. Everything left behind. I labeled the boxes clearly. Clean. Neutral. No spite. No commentary. As I sealed the last one, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I didn't answer. For the first time, it didn't feel like restraint. It felt like closure. Yesterday was the first day no one tried to reach me. No new numbers. No emails. No knocks. Just a normal, boring Tuesday, and I didn't realize how much I'd missed boring until it came back. I dropped the boxes with her things off at the storage unit we agreed on through Lauren. I didn't see Jenna. That felt intentional on both sides. There was nothing left to say that hadn't already been said through actions. On the drive home, I replayed that original text one last time. "I'm not your property. Stop calling me." For weeks after, I'd wondered if I'd overreacted, if I'd taken it too far, if a normal boyfriend would have apologized, unlocked the door, smoothed it over. But here's the thing I finally understand. That text wasn't about independence. It wasn't about boundaries. It was about control without accountability. She wanted the freedom to disappear while keeping the safety net intact. She wanted to reject connection without losing access. She wanted reassurance on demand, but consequences on delay. And when I took her words literally, when I accepted them without negotiation, everything collapsed. The anger, the tears, the panic. Not because she loved me so deeply, but because she never expected me to leave. That realization hurt more than the breakup itself. I don't hate her. I don't even think she's evil. I think she got comfortable in a dynamic where I always chased clarity while she held the exit door open, just in case. I closed that door. Not with yelling. Not with revenge. With silence. So yeah, I changed the locks. I stopped answering. I meant what I said. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like I'm waiting to be chosen. I already chose myself. If anyone's been on the receiving end of a "stop caring, but don't stop being there" relationship, I'd love perspective. I'm not looking for validation. Just sanity. Because right now, the quiet feels earned.